Today, man, we're going to be discussing Mattel quality, and we're going to be putting on the cape. I did this a few years back, and I pretty much said, what if I took over Mattel and the changes that I would make to the WWE action figure landscape if I were able, if I had any pull, if they came to me and said, hey, what would you change, and we're implementing these changes today. I did this video a couple years ago, and it was a lot of fun, and I want to say they've implemented some of these things. So I took some of the notes. I haven't watched that video in a really long time, but I want to say we mentioned removable heads without heat, you know, like we see nowadays with these figures, right? You know, if you want to remove a head sculpt, you can just come in and remove the head sculpt. I want to say that was in the video. I want to say double jointed arms. This was before double jointed arms. That was also in the video. They have since switched to double jointed arms. That's been a couple years now too, but they did implement that shortly after. Not that my video had anything to do with it. I'm just saying that they have implemented some of these changes, and I think I have maybe inspired Mattel in a couple of ways before to change some of the figures. We've seen it with AJ Styles. We've seen it with some other characters as well. But today, man, and I can't do anything about a damn Razor Ramon coming with a Cody Rhodes torso. That goes without saying. I think they do need to look internally at their factories because the quality has noticeably changed. And I'm not necessarily talking about the quality here today. I am, but I'm not necessarily talking about that. I think that kind of goes hand in hand. I think they do need to take a really hard look in the mirror and fix some of those issues that we've seen over the last year or so, because I think that the quality has been really lackluster lately, man. Between the QCs and the loose legs and the massive feet and all these different things. But we're going to address some of that here today, man. But let's start off at the top. Some of the things that I've talked about in my reviews too, if you guys come by. But one thing I want to talk about immediately is this right here. This is the neck joint currently that Mattel uses on their Ultimates, their Elites, and their Basics. And you'll see here, it is just a single ball joint. And this right here, inside of here, there's no ball joint in here. It's just a ball at the end of a peg. And on the other side, it's a little circle that hooks onto a peg that feeds through on either side of this torso. So you just get this single ball. So what I talk about implementing is I would either like to see a ball hinge, and I'll show you examples in just a moment, but I would like to see a ball hinge on this joint here or a double ball peg. And what I'm talking about with a double ball peg, and I'll show you some examples here. So I'll give you an example of a ball hinge, and I'll give you an example of a double ball that kind of changes how these heads articulate. So right now, this is what you get for articulation. It can spin, and it can look up a little if there's extra space in there for the ball, but you may get a little bit of head tilting, but that's pretty much it, man. You know as well as I do, if you collect this line, you don't get a lot of head articulation. It's just the way that it is. Now, when I say a ball hinge, I guess I can get into Jazzwares first since they make wrestling figures. If you take this Darby Allin right here, and just like, you know, we've talked about, they have removable heads too, which is great. This is a ball hinge. There's a jet flying over my head right now. So this is what we call a ball hinge. You can see the difference because this is just a regular ball joint. This is a ball hinge because there is a hinge with a ball attached to it, right? This is a hinge. It goes back and forth, and there's a ball on it. And the reason that this allows for better articulation is because they, you know, on this CM Punk Ultimate right here, this cannot move forward and back because the neck is in the way, right? You can't really do anything. It moves back and forth, and that is it. On this, you get a little bit more articulation because the ball can stay there because of the hinge joint right there, and it allows for a better articulation here. So if you need to tuck the head down or you need to look all the way up, look, he can look all the way down because of that ball hinge. He can look all the way up because of that ball hinge. And I think that would help Mattel figures a lot. They've also done this on Marvel Legends in the past. This is an older Spider-Man figure here. Remove that. Again, you have a ball hinge right here. It can look all the way down. It can look all the way up. And it's not the greatest innovation ever. It's not the best thing you can do probably for this. I think a double ball joint's better, and I'll show you why in just a moment. But this does at least allow you to look all the way up and all the way down. Name a Mattel WWE action figure that can do that right there. I don't think they can. And then another example of this would be a double ball joint that you're getting here. This is an SH Figure Arts, so I understand that this is probably a little bit more higher end. It's not a retail. I mean, they do sell these figures at retail, but it's not a retail price point in like a 20, 25 bucks. This is going to cost you more here, but if you remove the Goku's head right here, you will see it has a tiny ball or a ball peg right here, but it is a double ball peg. So there's a ball inserted in there, and then they have a ball here. They also have neck articulation, but I don't think that matters because look, you can also, this can fully swing around here independently, even if you didn't have that neck joint. So I know it does have the neck joint, but you can pop this in here and you can, you know, you get full range of motion right here. And I'm not even including the neck joint. The neck joint also allows you to get more articulation and range, but I'm not even including that. I'm just talking about the head itself independently. It can hold and do a lot of things too just from that double ball there. So that is something that I would implement immediately into the neck of these figures or the head joints of these figures for better range of motion with the head itself. Now, the next thing I want to discuss are the legs. Now, I think that this could go in a lot of different ways, and I think it's improved slightly, and we can kind of get into those things, man, but I think a lot of people really do not like the pin pinless legs. If I had it my way, I would not have the pinless legs, man. I think that aesthetically, do they look better? They absolutely, I guess, look better. You know, the best comparison you can take is like one of these Top Picks Codys and compare it to this Royal Rumble Cody. And I mean, dude, this is what we're dealing with nowadays. So you flex the leg and this is what you get. It will not hold a position. It won't even go back into a position. So it won't even get to like a stationary point where it just stays flat. So now you've entered this territory where he can't even kick forward. This one can kick forward slightly, but even like, it's just very stiff and rickety. And the double jointed knee it's not the worst I've ever seen. I don't like, this is something that happens though when you have pinless joints, man, is you'll have it where this top part will be a little stiffer than the lower. Like if the upper part right here, like where the knee connects to the thigh, was as fluid as the bottom part, it wouldn't be that bad. But you see how when you articulate this, you have to give it an extra oomph just to get that upper part. And then when you articulate it back, it does the lower part, then the other part. That part right there really annoys the crap out of me. And then, you know, as well as I do, a lot of figures do this now where they snap back and forth. They don't have like a very fluid kick. And not to mention, the boots are massive, man. Look at the feet difference right here, man. I would fix this immediately. Look at this right here, man. Look at the foot size. That's got to be at least like almost half an inch larger than the older boot. And I like the new sculpts, and I think some of the new boots look really good. Like you take this Batista over here, and we've seen it since I think Elite 113. This new this new boot mold right here. I like this new standard boot mold. I think it does look good. You know, these get a little loose or what have you, but I think they do aesthetically, they do look better. They look like better wrestling boots in my opinion, or maybe it's just because they've changed that I maybe like it a little more, but I do like that you get that extra ankle rock right there. I haven't gotten to fully explore the possibilities of the ankle rocker with the new Mattel WWE Elites and Ultimates, you know, in terms of how much it helps and all those things, but I will say that that is nice to have, how you can spin it, I guess, but to me, it's more about just the ginormous feet, man. Ginormous feet, and then this Cody right here, one of the worst releases ever in terms of disappointments. I've talked about it a little bit. I was front row for it. I was front row for this show, getting to witness him win the Royal Rumble in this gear. It was cool, so I was like, oh man, I can't wait for that figure. That's going to be awesome to have, but then the figure is just buns, man. Not user-friendly at all, very stiff, massive feet, and when you really compare these two, this is where you can really get the big comparison between the two. If you take like a standard former Cody Elite, let me get all these figures out of the way so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So this is like kind of the standard Cody Elite before they switched to pinless, before they switched to boots, before they switched to legs, all these different things. And this was made in the old factory. This is made in the new factory. I think it's the new Vietnam factories are the problem. This was made in a China factory, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Make sure I have it right. Yeah, so this figure was made in China. This was made in Vietnam, and that's kind of when people think that a lot of these QC issues started appearing. At least that's what it seems like. But, you know, you have a standard older figure here. It can kick forward like this. It can kick out like that. It doesn't snap back and forth, you know. Like, it'll actually pose up and it'll stay in position. Buttery smooth double jointed leg right there. Boot rotation. Not the best ankle rocker, but the feet aren't massive, and he can actually lock his legs in place and he can stand around and stuff like that. Then you come over here to this one. His leg will not kick forward, and it will kick forward on this side. I'll keep it a buck. It will kick forward on this side, but the other side is completely back and forth. It's like the old Rey Mysterio figures from Elite 1 and Elite 5 and stuff like that. And then, you know, the double jointed knee, like I said, gets locked in place. And this figure just is not a joy to pose. I feel like I'm going to snap the figure, and I feel like this figure is not as user-friendly. This one, much better, man. Much better, much more pleasing. And these used to be some of the best, you know, Mattel figures that they would make in Elite form was Cody Rhodes. And now that, you know, his figures have changed so much with the feet and the boots and the legs and that snap back and forth method, now it's like they're some of the worst figures. They're some of the figures that I don't look forward to whatsoever. So I would most definitely change the legs, no more pinless joints, and I would fix the boots and feet, man. I just think that these look ridiculous. And not to mention the Samoan Dynasty 3-pack with Alpha and Sika and Roman Reigns. I haven't unboxed that just yet, but the feet on those guys were massive. And I know that, you know, when you make a change like that, you're going to have your bumps in the road. You're going to have to adjust and fix things on the fly. And, you know, maybe things aren't the best right off, but, you know, you can kind of get like some feedbacks and you can understand what is messing it up and you can go back and adjust it. But Yeah, they just didn't look good, man. They didn't look good. They don't look good. And now we have these figures where I think we've taken a step back in quality. And I hope that they can redirect, and I hope that they can fix these things, because I think that there are good figures, right? Like, I think that this CM Punk right here, I don't think he's pinless. I don't think he is pinless. Yeah, he's not pinless, and that may be why he feels good. But he does have the new feet. He has the new feet. But this figure feels buttery smooth. This Elite 115 Punk is really, really strong. The new Elite 115 R-Truth, really, really strong. The new Tyler Bate, very good for the most part. So I don't think it's every figure. I just think that you do get some figures that are like big woofs, and then you get some figures that are very top-notch and high quality. Like this CM Punk, the newest CM Punk, pretty much for the most part, very high quality, feels good in the hand, really good likeness. I mean, I think that, you know, I don't know if I want to say he is on ball joints, because I don't think you can really, yeah, I think he is on ball joints. You get this really good range of motion, but this guy's not pinless. Remember, this guy's not pinless. So maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe pinless legs are the issue, which I know I've been toting the flag for pinless in terms of, like, anti-pinless. I'm the damn anti-government over there, man. I'm anti-pinless joints, don't like them, but this would be some of the changes that I would make to the Mattel WWE Elite line, and just try to fix it the best that we can. I just think that there's so many problems right now with the line and the quality control and things like that, with the different torsos and the factory. I think the factory is the main issue, but some of these other things, man, have really taken a hindrance on the user friendliness of the figures, and it makes it more stressful to collect. It's like, I don't know, like I get a new figure and I'm like, damn, is this going to be a figure that can barely move, or is this going to be a figure that's really good? And it seems like the highs are high, but the lows are lows, and hopefully we can get these things corrected. But these are some of the things that I would implement. You know, I think that some of these things will be addressed, and hopefully we can get these things back on track, man. But that's pretty much going to wrap up my video today on how I would theoretically, or how I would save Mattel or WWE action figures at this juncture, man. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you agree, do you disagree on the neck joints, on the torsos, on the QC issues? Do you think that Mattel is dealing with some sort of quality control problems right now? Let me know all of those things down in the comment section below. But a huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. I appreciate all you fellas so much. Thank you guys so very much for all the support as always. But that is pretty much going to wrap the video, man. Let me know. I want to know, maybe you're thinking, man, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I think you're way off base. Or do you think that there is truth here? You can let me know. I know a lot of people, man, that I've talked to have said that they feel that the quality is falling off too. So maybe you guys are in the same boat there. But you can let me know all those things, man. I would like to know what you think of my implementations. Do you like them? Do you disagree? Leave me all your thoughts. But I'm getting the hell out, man. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one. I'll catch you guys later.